right. Well, hello everybody. I did make an update video a while ago about the Buy Me a Coffee fund, but I should probably make one again. Right now there is around $35 US funds in the Buy Me a Coffee fund. Um, I've used the money that I have raised so far to help to pay down some debts and to do some repairs on the truck. There's more repairs that need to be done on the truck. It's a never-ending thing fixing the truck, um, and that's to be expected when it's an older, high-mileage truck, which it is, But the price of vehicles is such right now in Canada that replacing it with anything, I'm really not going to get any better than what I've got, and so I might just as well stick with what I have and keep repairing it than try replacing it with something else and just end up with the same issues. Um, yeah, they're very expensive now. And now with our new prime minister, he's very much into all the globalism and the green agenda and all that. And so right now there's laws being pushed through in Canada to pretty much ban gasoline-powered vehicles and force everybody to go to electric, to EVs. Now, of course, there's a bunch of problems with that. Most people can't afford to buy electric vehicles. Electric vehicles are okay for short runs, just for grocery runs or whatever, but they're not very good. They're not for everything. You know, if you're traveling any distance, they're really not great. And in a northern climate like Canada, where it's cold for 6 months out of the year, they're also not great. And we don't have the infrastructure to support them in terms of the electrical grid and so on. Um, that would all need to be upgraded quite a bit before we could even support charging. If we converted every vehicle in Canada to electric, it'd be a disaster if we did that overnight or whatever. They're pretty much talking about doing it overnight. They're going to try to make it impossible for us to have gasoline-powered vehicles here. They have this net zero goal, which again is, as far as I'm concerned, is ridiculous for carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is the gas of life, by the way. All our plants rely on carbon dioxide. The trees and all the other plants rely on carbon dioxide, and we rely on the plants. And the plants also produce oxygen. So there is that, which we breathe. Anyway, yeah, of course, what the plan really isn't that everybody who's driving now is going to switch over to an EV. The plan is that you won't be driving. In fact, most of us won't even be alive, and the ones who are will be confined to 15-minute smart cities, which I refer to as jail cities. And of course, with 15-minute smart cities, there'd be no need to have a vehicle because whatever the government determines you need, whatever they decide is necessary for you, will be within a 15-minute walk of your assigned living quarters, whatever tenement apartment they put you in. And so it's going to be a different world if they get their way. And it's going to be a world that most of us aren't even going to see. And the ones who do see it aren't going to have a very high quality of life. That's just how it goes. That's the plan of the globalist. I said in another video this morning, and I kind of had to stop it because I got a phone call, but I'm having difficulty with my telephone, and a lady who I know was trying to call me about some work she has for me, and was trying to text me about work she has for me, and I hadn't answered her text. They hadn't gone through is what had happened. Anyway, I called the network supplier, the ones who I deal with for my phone, and they've told me I got to get a new SIM card and all that business. That is probably the SIM card that's the issue. And so I've got to do that. But anyway, I'm going to update you a bit on the GoFundMe and on the disability pension and so on to explain what's going on with all that. I've got my monk's hood on right now because I'm feeling religious, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, now with the disability pension, I'm not quite sure what's happening. I do have some issues communicating with my social worker. I didn't receive a payment this month, even though I should be eligible because I didn't earn $1,000 this month. The goal fund right now, the Buy Me a Coffee fund is bringing in around $150 Canadian per month. And my work that I do, my property maintenance work and stuff, it's only just starting now. So I haven't worked enough that I've earned in excess of $1,000. And so I should be eligible for pension payments both last month and this month, but I haven't received any. I've been told they want to change my pension over to a medical-only pension. My social worker had asked me to send her drug receipts for any medications I'm on. She asked this repeatedly, and every time she asked it for the portal, for the messaging portal we have, I responded by saying I don't have any. I'm not on any prescription medications. She sent me a message recently where she mentioned that she's still waiting for those receipts and she's wondering if I have them together yet. And again, I told her, so at that point, I told her, I said, well, look, I don't have receipts. Like, I'm not on any prescription medications and I don't have receipts. And therefore, I can't give you receipts. I can't give you what I don't have, you know. I don't take any prescription medications, so I have no receipts from a pharmacist for prescription medications. And so she sent me a message back. She said, okay, so you're telling us then that you no longer require any assistance from us. You no longer require you no longer require drug coverage or dental coverage from us. And I said, that's not, and she said, if that's the case, then you should consider applying for the federal government's dental plan. Anyway, I told her, I said, that's not what I said. What I said is I'm not on any prescription medications, and therefore I have no receipts for prescription medications. I can't send you what I don't have. So then she responded by saying, that's not what I said either. And so, you know, but she said, because I said, I can't send you what I don't have. And I said, but I didn't say that I would never require or need or require VAT coverage, that I wouldn't need drug or dental coverage at some point. I just said I don't currently have any receipts because I'm not currently on any prescriptions. And she responded by saying, that's not what I said either. So I don't know. I mean, to me, I interpreted that that's what she said, because it was, oh, well, she said, oh, I'm sorry. So you're saying you don't need any help from us. Basically, you're saying you don't require drug or dental coverage from us. And then she suggested that I apply to the federal government's dental program, seeing as how I don't require any help from them. And that's when I responded by saying that's not what I said. And she responded by saying that's not what I said either. So, anyway, I'm also having difficulty with my phone. I was just in touch with them and I have to get a new SIM card, they're telling me. So I'm going to have to try to get one for the grocery store in town here, because this is what they call a PC mobile phone. It's run for the Bell network, but their phones were sold through the President's Choice for the PC thing there. Basically, they were sold at the grocery store. Now, the grocery store don't sell these phones anymore, but I'm still on the PC network. So I ordered a PC-compatible Motorola phone from Amazon, and that's what I have. But I don't know if I can even get a SIM card. I don't know if the PC Mobile, I don't know if the grocery store supports these phones at all anymore. I know they don't sell the phones anymore. They may possibly still have the SIM cards available. I don't know. Anyway, I'll have to find that out. I'll probably go in there today. I have to call the lawyer back because a message that she sent me did not go through. Yeah, it's a mess anyway. There's a bunch of stuff going on right now. But as it stands, as near as I can tell, I'm cut off my disability pension at this point. And I'm still answerable to them. I'm still required to report my earnings and stuff to them. But I'm as far as I can tell, I'm not getting any assistance of any kind from them anymore. So I don't know. It's weird. I'm not really sure what to make of it, and I've kind of given up trying to talk to my social worker because we just don't seem to be able to communicate very well with each other. Now, that may be partially my fault. I don't know. It's possible. But whatever the reason, we don't communicate well with each other. Anyway, as it stands, the Buy Me a Coffee fund is still up, and it's at the point now where if you want to contribute to it, go ahead and contribute to it. Don't worry that I'm going to get too much money and it's going to screw up my pension, because it seems like the pension is already screwed up. And I do need to start saving money, and I need to fix the truck, and there's a bunch of stuff I need to do. I even need to buy a new mattress because my mattress now has springs popping out of it and stuff. So even with that, I need to buy a new mattress. So yeah, that's where we're at anyway. I'm hoping that between my jobs that I'm doing and my Canada pension, which I do get a small pension through the federal pension plan. This is all because I was used as a guinea pig for medical experiments when I was 8 years old. I talk about that in another video. It affected me in various ways, and that was way back in 1976. I was even given LSD a couple of times. 8 years old, and they were giving me LSD. They gave me so much haloperidol at one point that it actually crippled me. That it turned me into a cripple. And I eventually got through that. But when I came out of that place where they did all this to me, I had lost control of my bodily functions and I couldn't speak anymore. And I had to teach myself all these things again. It was as if I had had a stroke or something. I know I was having seizures on the haloperidol. I do know that the stuff gave me seizures. And then they said there was nothing wrong with me, but they were still going to treat me as if there was, and they put me on a drug called Orap, or Pimozide, and I was on that drug until I was in my early 20s when I refused to take it anymore. That drug is very hard on your heart and on your liver. And that drug made life pretty miserable. Really, it was horrible. But anyway, then when I quit taking it, I didn't get any help from my doctor. In fact, my doctor tried to have me committed to a mental institution, and I contracted the pneumonia because I was really run down because I was driving a taxi cab at the time and sleeping in the back of the car and eating takeout food because I wasn't really able to go home very much. And with that job, and couldn't be away from the radio, you know. And so it ended up that I got really run down. I got the pneumonia. I nearly died. My doctor tried to treat me as a mental case when I had the pneumonia. And I finally found another doctor who treated the pneumonia. But by that time, my lungs were permanently damaged. That's why I have breathing difficulties and trouble with stamina and whatnot, because my lungs are scarred from the pneumonia that went untreated for so long. Like I say, it nearly killed me. This was all back when I was um, 22, 23 years old in there in 1990, 91, you know, in there. Anyway, yeah. So anyway, this is a lot of whining and complaining I know I'm doing right now, and I don't mean to do that, but I'm just trying to set the background and explain what's going on and what all led up to the situation I'm now dealing with. Anyway, the Buy Me a Coffee Fund is still there. Um, if you're able to contribute to it and you feel moved to do so, please do. Don't contribute to it otherwise. I don't want anybody experiencing any hardship to help me. The fund is there to help to relieve my hardship, but not to cause hardship for others. So I don't want anybody feeling, any sort of a way about it. Just if you have some surplus funds and you wish to send them my way, I'd be grateful for them. But I don't expect anything from anybody, and nobody owes me anything. So all the world owes any of us is a chance and an opportunity to make a go of it. Whatever we get over and above that is either for our own efforts or it's a blessing bestowed upon us that we don't necessarily deserve. But, and that's true for everybody, including myself. And so I have no expectations, but I am putting it out there just to let you know the fund is still there. And it would help me out if you're able to contribute to it and you choose to. But like I say, I don't expect anything. So, and I will somehow figure it out. I figured out things up to this point. I've survived up to this point, and I'll survive as long as I'm supposed to. You know, all of us survive as long as we're supposed to. Um, anyway, I do have to get back to the lawyer. I had asked for some help through the legal clinic, and now they do everything by phone. You no longer meet a lawyer face to face. And so a lawyer had called me in early April and left a voicemail, but the voicemail didn't go through. This is part of the issue I'm having with my phone. And so she left the voicemail then last week. She was upset with me because I hadn't responded to her first voicemail, which I didn't get. I would have otherwise. But I have to call her back this afternoon and apologize and let her know what's happened and why I didn't respond. I simply didn't get the voicemail. And yeah, and try and sort everything out with her to figure out what's happening with my pension. Yeah, I really don't know. I mean, as it stands, when I turn 60, which is going to happen and not too far along from now, because I'm going to be 57 on July the 1st this year. July 1st is my birthday. I'll be 57. I'm 56 now. So 57, 59, so 3 years from now, the Ontario pension will cut me off anyway. Apparently what they do is they force you to go for an early retirement pension through Canada Pension. And if you do that, you end up with about $400 a month to live on. That's about what you get on average. If you apply for that at 60 and you're in a situation like I'm in where you've been on a disability pension and so on, where you haven't really been contributing much, if anything, to the plan, then you end up with about $400 a month to live on. And so, obviously, I can't live on what I have now. I'm going to live on 400. So I do have to make plans for when that happens. And yeah. Yeah, we got a government that shows us absolutely no mercy here. So, globalism is not a kind thing. It's an ism. And you very seldom see a good ism. I remember years ago, used to watch that show MASH, and they had the priest on there, the Catholic priest, Father Mulcahy. And I remember he said one time about living in that camp and all the crazy things that would happen there, and the way the people would conduct themselves. He said, I've seen every kind of ism there is. Since I've been here, he said, I've seen every kind of ism there is. And he said, there are no good isms, And he was right. I mean, when you look at it, anything that ends in ism is pretty much always a bad thing. Anyway, yeah, so that's where we're at anyway, but lots of isms, lots of isms to deal with. All right, well, that's it for now. This is just an update to let you know what's going on. And Rocky and I will see you a little later. Bye for now. We're getting ready to start our day. At least I am. I think Rocky's asleep in his box right now. But first, I have to copy down all the information the lawyers in this recent voice message that did go through. I need to copy down the number and the extension number and everything, and then call her back and let her know what's up. All right. Bye for now.